Hey guys, I am Tony Kitous. I'm founder of Comptoir Libanais, and apparently today I am number 20, episode 20. I hope you can enjoy my story and my journey.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rizq Podcast. This is episode 20, and on today's episode I've got a very, very special guest who I'm very honoured to have his time and be able to share this with you guys. I'm with Tony Kitous, who is the founder of Comptoir Libanais and multiple other restaurants, as well as author of several cookbooks, and someone who, for me personally, we were just speaking before even the camera started rolling, that one of the main reasons that I really wanted to interview Tony, and I haven't actually said this to you, was because I think you're an entrepreneur who's completely led by passion. Like, your passion is what leads your businesses, but the business is just whatever you call the fact that this is how you want to live your life, this is what you want to do for people and stuff like that. So that's what I really found, and I was in one of the Comptoir Libanais restaurants, and the people that were working there were all like any restaurant that I've gone to, Tony, of yours. There's a few things that I notice is that attention to detail is incredible. The staff are all so hospitable, and there's some restaurants that you go to that you can tell that the staff that are there are kind of, because they know that it's like a fancy place or whatever it might be, that's why they will give respect. But I truly feel whenever I go into a comptoir that the people are happy to be working there, they're happy to be serving us, and there is really that family atmosphere. And that was one of the main reasons that I thought, look, I need to reach out to Tony here, because this is a different type of restaurant. I don't get this feeling when I go into other restaurants. So I want to kind of just start there. We've spoken a bit about the inception of Comptoir Libanais, but if we start with where you are today then. So just to give yourself an introduction then, Tony, like, tell us a bit about yourself, where you are today, and then what I'd like to do is go into your story of where you actually started from, because that is an incredible place to kind of start to where you are now. So if you could kind of just introduce yourself a little bit, Tony.
You could have just done it for me. You seem to know about me more than I know about myself.
This is all the Google.
I am. Welcome to podcast number 20. I am number 20 now. Look, like you just said, passion is very, very important. As you were talking about passion, it's very, very important in anyone starting something, because you have that passion, and the business is a vehicle. You inject that vehicle with a lot of passion, and it drives, and that's how it works. A business is a business, and then when you have what makes a business, it's the team. What makes the team is the passion. What makes the passion is the drive, and is the hunger and wanting to do something. That's what, and passion doesn't just start like that. Just does not born just with just passion. It gets built. It gets out of desire, out of situation. From my personal experience, I know when someone is usually born into a situation where he doesn't have to do something. He has food always on his table. He has everything he needs. There's every year there's summer holidays mapped up. They have new clothes. They have the new this as kids. And when you see that, they just, for me, this is where I think the hunger came from. Is when you get deprived. Other people have from different influences, but for me, of course, always I talk about my personal experience, and I share my story, but I'm sure other people have different story and different personal experiences. But I guess at the end of the day, each of us has their own story, have their own journey, have their own experience. Is what you make out of it. Look, for me, I was brought up. I was born in Algeria, in a small town called Tizi Ouzou, and I lived right across the road, the football
Oh, nice.
pitch, football stadium. My team was called GSK, is the equivalent of
Liverpool.
the class 92 Manchester United. You know that I was going to say that before I started. Yeah, clearly you're.
Had to get that in there.
Yeah. Better. Maybe Liverpool today.
Just the champions. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, obviously. I like to call it class 92 of United. And whenever they play, it's a sellout. And and you live right across the road, so all your kind friends and neighbors, they do the same. So I started very young, probably 8. Just wake up early, buy some tickets, and then eventually, a couple hours later, sell them.
Oh, you scalp the tickets.
Sell them for a small profit. And then
So this is when you're about 8 or 9 years old.
yeah, it's there. It's everybody who's doing it. It's normal. For someone else, it might feel strange. Someone is doing it at all, not just at 8 or 9. It was no thing. It's no hard. It wasn't hard work. You have like, you have the equivalent of £5. You just go and buy 10 tickets and go back and sell them, and that's what we were doing. And then there's no more tickets available. All you do is to go and make sandwiches, lemonades, and just sell them. My mother used to help me out, and I think that is my first memories of how I started. Because sometimes people say, "When did you start? 10 years ago, 15 years ago?" Just what? I think now the more I tell the story, the more I think about it. Everything starts at such a young age. Who I am today, that's how I started then. So, and eventually everything you do afterwards is an experience, you add it to it, and the people you work with is part of the experience, and that's how it's like a snowball. That experience is like a snowball, and I think that's really how I started. And my father was from, was humble, obviously he was modest, he was working, has very steady job, but I think I used to make, whenever I used to sell tickets and sandwiches, some good in 3 or 4 days a month I could make more money than he made a month at a very young age. But of course he didn't know I was doing that. He'd have killed me at the time. They don't like their boys going out and selling. It's at the time they used to see it dodgy.
I was just gonna say
now it's an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
No. I got arrested once by the police.
Oh, really?
Of course you're not allowed to do that. It's not. It's that's how I've learned how to do things. That's how I've. But then came out of the fact my father was not the type of guy we couldn't afford it. Say, is your pocket money, or shall we go to the cinema? We didn't have that back then. So you have to do it yourself. And look, don't get me wrong. There was always
food on the table.
But it was food, not more. It's like, would you like to eat this or this? No. One day it's lentils, one day just chips and some eggs. One day it's some lentils, potato stew, but we loved it. It's the best experience, and that makes me. Every time I start eating it, right nowadays I eat this humble food. It just it reminds me of my childhood, and it's priceless. It's really, really priceless. So, I think that is a little bit. That's what helped me. It's also the fact that also could be a help. That my uncles, they're self-successful from both sides, and then you see your cousins also, your rich cousins, and that also give me the extra hunger to do well. I could technically be their poorest cousin out of 80 cousins we have. Me and my brothers were their poor. This also gives you that little bit of an injection of
Yeah.
desire and hunger to do, because without, in anything you do in life,
Mhm.
when somebody watch football game says who's going to win is the one who wants it more, the one who's more hungry.
Mhm.
In a fight, in a boxing fight, in a marathon, in a race, in a business, how much do you want something? Really, how much? We can go back to this. How badly do you want something? This is where it's like it's down to. That is very, very important.
Absolutely.
Remind me, we can go back to that. And eventually, summer holidays. I could work here, left, right, and center, and then I always managed to have a holiday, sneak somewhere. In the summer, spend time with friends, families, neighbors. So I had a very colorful childhood. And then when I was 18 years old, supposed to go to baccalaureate, I had my baccalaureate, supposed to go to university. A friend of mine and I said, let's go somewhere different. We decided on London, just like that. So we weren't interested in going to France. I think been once before. Spain, no. And I think that decision that was made just like that that's what shaped my future. And
Whose decision was it? Yours or your friends?
to be honest, I think I can't remember. It's all I remember. One said, "Why not? Shall we try London?" And someone else says, "Why not?"
Okay.
One of us.
Yeah.
We both. Nobody argued about it.
Yeah.
So I said, "Let's go to London." So, no.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like it was the same.
Yeah.
We made
It
it the
fit.
same. It's
Yeah.
like the moment one said London, says why not?
Yeah.
To be honest, that was 32 years ago. You're asking me about, but that is an idea and a decision that changed my mind. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could have, if either me or him,
Yeah.
whoever recommended it.
Yeah.
If he said why not London, someone said no, never.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
that it's
You wouldn't have done it,
it's
exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
you wouldn't have done it. It's unbelievable. I was talking to my mother the other day about it. How something like a small idea would change your life forever. We didn't say let's go to London. We came for 2 weeks and went back. Then we would have never never got to meet each other. So, but that idea came about. We came to London, and we stayed a few weeks. Didn't have any money. I think we had. I know definitely I had £70 in my pocket, and I think I had the same. The first night, it was in '88, 6th of August '88, in the summer, and we slept in Victoria Station. The following day,
We slept in the train station.
we stayed in Victoria Station. We slept in there. I think at the time it was open. It was no problem.
Okay, yeah.
They loved the homeless there. We were exotic at the time. And it was like all mixed in with the travelers. I was pretending I was one of those backpackers with my suitcase. Yeah. So and then the next day we realized we had a friend of ours who had a brother who lived in London. He gave us his phone number, and we contacted him. We said, "Oh, come stay with me." Turned up he was staying in a squat, and we all stayed in a squat. So I stayed for 3 months in a squat. I loved it. I loved that experience. And at no stage it was crazy for me, strange. In that squat we shared some Irish punks, and it's like it's like you coming from a different country, in fact a different continent, from Algeria, from Africa. You come to London and you live in an abandoned house with some punks. The way they live and the way they're like, wow. And at no stage I was like, oh my God, I miss home. This is strange. No, I was home. I also felt home straight away. Don't get me wrong. It was new, but I also felt home. Anyway, so cut the story short. After 2 months, I was supposed to go back home. I didn't. I wanted to stay, but my mom said, you have to come back. You have to come back. When a Muslim mother puts all the pressure and the guilt on you, so you can't, it's hard to say no. So I went back, supposed to go to university, arrived to Algeria. next day, went back to Algeria. I went to the university.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you half an hour. I sat in the class. After half an hour, I walked out. I said, "This is not for me." And then I went back home to tell my mom, my dad. Listen, I think I decided in my mind I need to go back. And of course, they didn't want. I was 18 years old. Going on a holiday is one thing. Going to a country at 18 years old, no money, no friends, no language, no qualification. In my kind of culture, it's very difficult. I still don't know how they did it, by the way, to let me go. But I was persistent. But it didn't. I couldn't just travel. I needed their blessing, but also they needed to give me, because I was 18 years old.
Okay.
I needed the permission because I was a minor. So after 2 or 3 weeks, I was every day going to my dad, give me that permission, because I had to have it from the police, signed by the police. And then every day says tomorrow. Then one day I went to my dad and I said, look, actually before that they were sending me everybody, my friends, my neighbors, my schoolmates, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents. They were sending me everybody in my
To try and persuade you
hometown to persuade me,
okay.
you're young, stay, wait a little bit. For me it's now, I don't, everybody say yes, but my decision was made. Then eventually I went to my dad, says, Dad, what's going on? When are you going to give it? He says to me, tomorrow. I said, look, Dad, if you think you tell me tomorrow, so you can make me forget and maybe think I'm going, I haven't been to university. I've only been for one day. I think at that point, my dad understood. And I think that I needed to go. My mom was the same. And by that time, they understood that my mind was made up. And I had that authorization from my dad, but I also had his blessing, and I had my mom's blessing. But then, for me, as soon as I got that piece of paper, I remember very well the day I still have a picture of my mom packing for me the day I came back. I bought a ticket, I came back. On the day I arrived to London, as I was coming out of passport control, carrying my luggage with a trolley, and it's almost like a big thing came into my mind and said, wow, you thought now that's it, you had everything, because that pressure, not knowing whether I'm going to get that authorization, it was a huge challenge. And it's almost like that message is, this is not the challenge, that is just the beginning. Yeah. It's like that.
Now the reality's hit you.
The reality hits me.
Yeah.
But what hits me more is that in 4 or 5 years' time, my friends and my neighbors that are the same age, the people that I went to school with, are in university. Within 4 or 5 years, they have their degrees. One is a doctor, one is an engineer, one is a pilot, one is this. I know what's going to happen to me. I don't end up washing dishes for the rest of my life. I said to myself, within 4 to 5 years, by the time they come out of university, I will work hard, save some money, and to open my a business. And I think that was very, very, very crucial. That helped me focus for the next 4 to 5 years.
Right.
And that was so strong as a desire that's the only thing I was thinking about. Every single day, I have to open this place, I have to open this business, I have to open this business, every single day. But during the day, I was working for it, not just thinking about it. And when I was working, I used to go to people that I work with. I wanted to work as much as I could. If I could have worked from 8 to 1 in the morning, 7 days a week, I would have done that. Every week, day in, day out.
I guess for you at that point as well, it was like, what else am I going to do? Am I going to relax and chill?
No.
Or am I going to just work?
But I was still managing to, after work, I used to go out. So don't. with some friends. And
So you maintained
I
balance.
was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
I sacrificed. I didn't mind going out 2-3 hours and go back to sleep. I would wake up tired, but still, I think, and I would have never said to someone, I always to go, I can't work, I can't replace you. I always said yes. I always to go to everyone that I worked with, says, look, if you can't work, if you don't want to work, if you're going on holiday, if you want to take day off, it's your birthday, let me know. They all know.
Tony will work.
Yeah, Tony will work. And I just remember so well, even at work, I promise you, I will remember, then one day I was sitting, I was working, I was standing in this restaurant, and then it was this English girl, waitress. She came to me, she said to me, Tony, how come you always work? Where is your life? Why are you not living? And I remember there was another waitress, I think she's a half Indian. She didn't let me answer, she answered. Said, in the culture of the immigrants, they like to work so hard when they're young, in order not to work less, and to guarantee a future when they are older. There's one way to say it, absolutely. Yeah, because when we're young, and also as an immigrant, we didn't come here to relax. We come here with a goal, with hunger to do better, to succeed.
And you've got all this stuff to prove to people as well.
To people, but 100%, maybe to my parents.
Or to yourself
without
as well,
thinking, you know what, maybe I'm always the last person to prove to myself. For me, it was to my parents. But there's one element that people don't understand. How much or what those immigrants had to pay in order to come to this country. When I say pay, what they had to sacrifice, they left their parents, mother, father, grandparents, school friends. They left their life behind in order to go to a new life. For what? To have a job, to get a better job. And some people risk their life, some people do this, but this is a huge thing. Eventually, with time, when I was 18, I didn't think of that. Now I think about it. Wow, my life is not the same anymore. I'm very proud to be a British Algerian immigrant. I'm super proud. But what I'll say, who I am today, is the mixture of my childhood and what I lived. I
lived here now.
I lived
for
here
longer
more,
than
32 years here, 18 years old. So, but we sacrificed a lot. So, for me, is how hungry you are for something. How it looks. Sometimes people can describe me. Oh, look at him! He came with 70 pounds, and today he has 35 restaurants. First of all, they just took. It's like you have a cake, you take the cherry, you take this, and you leave the. It does not work like this. First of all, they just look at you as if you are on your own. Did that? It's not on your own. You have a team. It's a teamwork. You did it with everybody that worked with you. That's one. Second of all, they don't see the tears. They don't see the sweat. They don't see the blood. They don't see the anxiety, the sleepless night, the mental health issues. They don't see all that. So that's why people. It's like saying, "Oh my God, I love George Clooney. I love an actress." They like the person in the role. They like the script.
The image of it.
The image. They actually don't know what it consists of in a real life to be an entrepreneur. I promise you, 99%, probably even more, it's not glamorous. People only see, oh my God, when you see the restaurants, when they open a new restaurant, when there's a cookbook, there's an article, or when there's a picture. But that's not reality.
So just talk to me a little bit about that then. So, because you could have had a very simple route, simple, easy life. You could have gone to university. You could have been an engineer. And I say simple. I mean, for me personally, there is, you know, that has its own challenges, but simple in the fact that that is well known. People will always accept that route. Whereas you've gone, not only, you know, when everyone's gone left, you've gone right, but you've done it in a different country, away from everybody.
Don't get me wrong, because I don't want to sound like I was complaining. I love everything I do.
Yeah.
And I think without that love, I wouldn't keep going. I think the way you made it sound, you left a simple life. Or simple thing to do.
The journey could have been...
The journey in your country to come somewhere where it's difficult. As a human being, we tend to do better out of difficult situations, out of awkward situations, out of discomfort. If I was comfortable, I wouldn't be as hungry as a human being. I don't know. You
Absolutely.
know, so I think the fact I came with my situation, and each person has his own story and his own reason what motivated him to do whatever they did, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, I always tell, which is, honestly, I never forget where I come from. I miss where I come from. I miss my childhood. Despite I thought it was tough then, I loved every part of it. And I miss it. And I think I still want part of it to be in my blood in order to keep me going forever.
Absolutely.
And I got to learn more about life, because a lot of people, they think business is about making money to show it off, or I don't know what some people. For me, it was not. For me, it was about the hunger to succeed, the hunger to do better, the challenge, and of course, I love to do things that our customers enjoy and love. Of course, we still run a business. Personally, as a person, I've never been motivated by money. I was never that kind of person. I think that hunger and passion to succeed, that and to grow and to make a difference that's what drove me. And also with time and with age, it become more personal. I want to educate about my culture, inspire young people, share my story, if I can help them in one way or the other, and also to get people to understand about our culture and about our tradition, and about how generous our culture is. We show our love with food. Food brings people together. That everything we do, unfortunately, especially nowadays when they see things on TV, they think they know about our culture, what they see on TV. So yeah, I feel like I feel like I'm taking it. Each of us is his own ambassador of his own culture and country.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I found in this country, that when someone comes to this country, he is as anybody that is born here. The sky is the limit. Yeah, the sky is the limit. There's no limits to what you can do. The only limits there is the one you put yourself.
Absolutely.
So this country will encourage all kind of people from different cultures to do well. And I think when I came to this country, I didn't come just as a body. I brought my knowledge, I brought my passion, I brought my hunger.
That drive, desire.
That desire.
And this country just provided you the framework to be able to
100%.
lift you up to where you wanted to get to.
And I always tell people, young people, I always tell them, depends what their background is. And this is an opportunity. Sometimes people, you don't understand, it's difficult, when you are this, when you are that. I said, you know what? It's actually much easier when it's difficult. Because when it's difficult, you should be hungrier to do something. I don't want to make it sound easy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that happens overnight. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
People, when they say, they describe someone, they describe his success, they discuss the more humble, the more difficult is that person, they go to that point, and they go to his more important point, where it says, this guy, didn't have anything, came to this country with £5, and now he's worth this. Yeah, they talk about these two things, and they don't even say it took him 50 years.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't even say what he's done. Do you understand? They almost make it sound, he came to London with £5. He's worth £70. It almost came as soon as he landed. He's worth 70 million. Whatever. You know what? People don't. So they make it so easy.
So let's talk about that then. Just you're in London. You're working in these kitchens. Your mindset is, I just need to work. I need to earn as much as I can because that's my goal now. 4 or 5 years time, I want to have my own restaurant. And so this is your first site, right?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely incredible to think about, that we're sat here in a restaurant which you opened when you were 22, 23.
22, yeah.
And so as you're kind of, you're washing those dishes and you're thinking about, okay, how much money can I save? How much money can I keep? What are you doing in terms of the actual, thinking about starting a restaurant? Are you going out looking at sites?
No,
how are you forming this
when
business?
I was working, it's not how much money can I save. Everything was saving.
Okay.
Everything was saving. Obviously, eventually, I was living in a shared flat with a friend of mine. I was eating at home, at work. When you do 80 or 90 hours a week, sometimes more, over 4.5 years, it's probably the equivalent of 10 years, 11 years, like you did for 4.5 years. So I never had spent money on food because I was working. I think I paid the rent 4.5 years, but I was earning enough for as if 9 years. So I wasn't spending that much because I was always at work, and everything was spent. And every time I was feeling I was getting closer and closer and closer to the goal. That's how I felt. So, and I think at one stage I was looking for something to open, and because I was working, I wasn't serious enough, or I wasn't motivated enough because I was distracted because I was working. I thought, you know what? Let me stop work, and so I put my focus on looking for a restaurant or so to open, and eventually I did that. I couldn't really have found something. Every time I look at something, and at the time I had 60,000 or 66,000 pounds, I remember. I couldn't afford to buy something or have something more than I could afford. And then eventually I was looking at few sites, they didn't work out. And then I remember I came to work here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was working here. And then one day, after a few months, the place I came to work, the door was closed. There was a sign saying that it's closed for it was closed. The landlord took it. I think they didn't pay rent.
Right, okay.
So I came back the next day, still closed. The following day, still closed. After a few days, I just realized it was not going to reopen. I called the landlord. I said, look, I'm interested in renting the place. Yeah, I was 22, with a baby face. I remember with my ponytail. I remember buying a suit, imagine that look, baby face, ponytail, long hair, with a suit. It just looks so. It's like a young kid taking picture for for his. It's strange to look back at it. It's like, and I remember buying a small a briefcase that Dalesley suitcase, and I got myself.
So in your head, you just wanted to look the part.
I wanted to look the part, and I.
You wanted to be taken seriously.
No, there's this other story, because I saw the other day on Instagram, on LinkedIn, this young, in a train, I think a young black boy, going to job interview, and in there you can say an older man doing up his tie. He says, "Look at this man." He was doing up the tie to this young man because he didn't know how to do his tie. I had goosebumps because I knew exactly what that young man was going through, and it's very difficult. It's almost impossible to see a young English white man not knowing how to do a tie, because in school they teach them this. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. This is the whole thing.
So that is where I knew exactly what the boy is going through, and he brought back my memory when I did not know how to do a tie. So I had to go to. I have the tie, I bought it, but thinking it was very easy, just to knot it up. But turned out to be not like that. So I went to a shop on my way here in St. Christopher's, a place called Woodhouse. So I was embarrassed also to tell them I don't know how to do a tie. So I pretended I injured my arm.
Right, okay.
Can you please help me do my tie?
Wow.
So that was my last challenge. So, and then 1 minute later I went to meet my landlord. That was my first restaurant.
Wow.
To meet my landlord to say, like, I'm interested in renting your restaurant. So that's how it started. Of course, the landlord looking at you, thinking like, this guy is like so young, and you want to rent a restaurant in the middle of the West End, 2 minutes from Bond Street Station, and it was still a recession, 1993. So eventually, of course, the landlord wanting to know about me. But the first question, the real question is, do you have the money? So I showed him. I had in my briefcase. I just had my bank statement, which shows I had £66,000. He saw that. He said, "You know what? The rent was £400 a week at the time.
Wow. Okay.
I had 3 years worth of rent, so he didn't have to worry about it." So that's how my first restaurant started.
Amazing. I wanna like. There's so much that can be talked, because between 1993 and I think 2010, there's so much that is almost I'm guessing that you were just building in that time, because 2010 is when Comptoir Libanais was born, right?
2008.
2008, okay. So between that's 15 years. So 16 years between starting Levant and Comptoir.
93. Yeah, okay, all right. My first restaurant 93 and 10. Okay, fine, yeah.
So between that, I think there was the acquisition of Pasha as well between that time as well. But I want to talk about Comptoir now, because this is obviously Comptoir is a completely different brand that I think the UK has not seen before, and I think this is what your passion is and what your drive is to normalize Lebanese food, which is what Comptoir is doing. So I just want to talk about how you guys started then. How did Comptoir come about?
Look, in 93 I started the restaurant, and it was a European restaurant, and I was doing it for about 3 or 4 years. But I started it as one thing. I called it Baboon.
Yes.
Not knowing what even that meant, because it sounded right. And then, it wasn't enough. I changed it. I gave it another, refurbished it, gave it another name, also as a European restaurant. Then eventually I realized, what? Everybody's doing the same thing as European. I would just let me do something that is different. Then I started doing Lebanese food, Middle Eastern food,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I started Levant. Levant was obviously in 2000, and that's when I was doing that, and I was always enhancing the experience of Levant, and bit by bit it was getting more and more popular. All I was doing is focusing on the experience, the team, attention to detail, the food, the atmosphere, the music, the design. It's almost like when whoever came in to the restaurant, it's like they went somewhere for 2 or 3 hours. They landed somewhere in Marrakesh, in Beirut, in Istanbul, in Cairo, in Algiers.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's that kind of feel. And then the business was getting better and better. I had another restaurant in Paddington. I called it Levantine. I opened it, and I bought Pasha from Richard Caring. Right after he bought all the Ivy, the Caprice, and then we managed to convert that into we bought that, and we kind of did exactly the same as what we did with Pasha, with Levant, and then I opened another one in the city called Kenza, similar to Levant. We had the belly dancers. The music was amazing. The atmosphere was electric. The food is like it's like a feast. It was good for couples to come, for a group of friends, for celebrations. It was just unbelievable. It was really electric, the atmosphere. And then all along, that was kind of mid-market, to up, around. People were spending like between 50 and 70 pound a head, and then eventually I always wanted to do something. All along, something. Even before Levant, I wanted to do something that was for everybody. When you go to the high street, you see Chinese food, Indian food, burgers, pizzas, sushi, all this casual. Says, how come they don't have Lebanese or Middle Eastern casual? And I think that's when, and that was building.
Okay.
I didn't do it straight in the back of my mind. I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it, and it was all there. But I was developing the idea in my head and a little bit on paper, and it's only when the opportunity for Westfield came about. Then I realized how to put it in Westfield, and that's how Comptoir started in 1988.
Yeah. It's amazing, because I remember when Westfield opened up. I think Comptoir was one of, if not the only halal restaurant as well that was there at the time. So
halal was important for me because I wanted to make sure that place for everybody: a student, a nurse, a doctor, an office worker, security officer, a Muslim family. I want it to be also our food is full of vegan. So I just but I also wanted to make sure it's not expensive. It's value for money. Yeah, I need to check on something. Sure. So for me, it's very, very important. It's very, very important it's very, very important to have Comptoir as accessible for everybody, really, really everybody. And I just remember the first day I opened in Westfield. It was like nothing I ever seen in my life, except the closest thing I've seen to it. The amount of people that were coming through is like when I was a kid selling tickets and sandwiches in the football pitch in my hometown. You see people coming in by thousands, except that day we were having I think we served about 3,000 people on that day. All I remember, the food was running out, And I was calling the restaurant, said, send me food, send me all this. And then eventually said, we don't have any more hummus.
Wow.
No. I said to them, send me anything you have. And then afterwards they said, we sent you everything. He says, just come to help. No, it was that's how it started the first. And also all those 2008
yeah.
was also another recession. And
yes.
everybody's telling me, oh, you're going to be mad to do it in Westfield. But I think it's the best thing he's ever done.
So what I wanted to ask you now is about a lot of, even up until this point, you've got multiple restaurants, right? And one thing that I've seen, myself, is that some people, they'll open up a restaurant or a cafe or whatever it might be, and they stick to just that one, and they don't grow further than that. Why is it that you've chosen to grow and have all these multiple and create a chain? Was that something that's important for you? Was that based on ambition and growth? What is the reason that you've chosen to grow your brand? And then also, what has been your key to succeeding in growing that brand?
I think the people that only open one choose to stay in one. Maybe they're cleverer than I am. They're smarter, because we only have one life, and enjoy it. I decided that was the route I want to take.
Mm-hmm.
I met my business partner who had the same ambition and drive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's as I said, it's not about me. It's about me, the team, and everyone else. And I was very, very blessed. My business partner has the same vision as me on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our drive. That was our ambition. It still is, despite COVID. However, one needs to be realistic. Right now, it's about survival and talking about this current climate of
Absolutely,
COVID.
yeah.
But we always wanted to do better. We wanted to expand because we have the same drive, the same. It's part of what we always wanted to do from the beginning. Yeah. So that was what I wanted. I wanted to do more and more, and to expand and to create some a brand that I could open whatever I could. But I also question myself. Why am I want to open more and more? I can't give you the answer, except because probably I love what I'm doing.
Well, I was going to say from the outside,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think it's because the mission that you're on is not to open up restaurants. You don't necessarily have I want to open 100 restaurants. Your mission is, I want people to look at Lebanese food the same way as they look at something else, right?
That's of course. I always said it. I want people to look. Because it's very, very stressful. It's very hard. It's not like because people just he's opened another restaurant. Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
For me, it's when people say congratulations, say thank you very much. But by the time I open and I tell people they don't say I've been exhausted, stressed. Like, oh my God, thank God it's over. I've opened it and I need to move on. I need to rest a little bit and move on to the next restaurant.
I bet you people look at some of your restaurants like, that Tony, you're so lucky you found this place.
So
you're
lucky,
about
lucky. No, but of course, there's other things that keep me going and drive, because I think nowadays also when I see people eating, I know how good is our food, how healthy is our food, how simple, how humble. It caters for everybody to share. The freshness, simplicity, vegetarian, vegan, or even the meat dishes. They can be very healthy than people think. I wanted people to eat the food not just on occasions, and not to put it as an ethnic type of food. I want people to eat it on a daily basis, whether it's in a restaurant, whether it's at home. I wanted one day supermarkets, where they started, to be very honest, to start stocking the ingredients. Yeah, I want the food to become as popular as Italian food. I always said it, and I still say, I want people to feel, and the reason why Italian food has become so popular, yes, it is very good food, but it's also people worked on it to popularize it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Lebanese food or Middle Eastern food could be the same. We need to work at it. We need to do more. And if I had another 20 people like me all around the world, people will be talking about Lebanese food today as like Italian food. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
and I think he had what it takes. I know I'm sounding biased, but I do actually know it is the kind of food that people looking at it as a trendy food, as fashionable. It is not trendy. And it's not fashionable. It's a food that existed. It's the most humble food you can find. And it's not food people eat it today because it's fashionable and we move on to no, it's a food that is going to be here and it's going to be to stay, and I think is going to be hopefully one day to be as popular, if not more popular than Italian food, as long as more and more people doing it.
Absolutely. Tony, we don't have too much time, but I really do want to ask you about this subject of sacrifice, risk, and I think you said it a little bit earlier as well about how badly somebody wants something.
Okay, I think this is what it's all about. It's really that's what it's down to. With time, I tell you, we always have to say we have the blessing of our parents. In our religion we believe a lot in that, and also we have to thank God at all time. We always have to say Alhamdulillah. And we need to thank God. We never ignore that huge part. We're blessed by our parents, we're blessed by God. But there's an element where also we have to work for it. Yeah, we can't just say Inshallah, Alhamdulillah, and sit at home and nothing happen. That is very important to get all the blessing from the parents. But just like I said, you have to be super hungry for success in anything you do. If you walk into somewhere very casually and not keen, thinking it's easy, if it is that easy, that means everybody will be doing it, then it's no longer easy. If that makes sense.
Absolutely,
yeah. But the more, if someone walks into something easy, that means it's easy to get. That means everybody will get it.
Yeah.
If it was difficult, that means it's difficult to get. But if it's difficult and you go for it and you fail, you have it go again, and you fail, and you go again, and you fail, and you go again, and you fail, because it's almost like it's that, like the light at the end of the tunnel. You need to dig and dig and dig, but when you dig, you don't know if the light is after 1 meter or after 1 kilometer. Business is like that. You have to dig and dig and dig and dig. Persistence is very important. Giving everything you can is very important. Throwing yourself physically, mentally, and your soul and everything you can take with you in order to make sure that this business will succeed. What helped me for me is that fact that when I landed in London, pushing my trolley and thinking, now you're on your own. In 4 or 5 years, all your friends will come back with you, and what about you? I still question that as an 18-year-old. No, I'm not talking about me. As an 18-year-old, to have that maturity and that message, and because that was that situation that helped me.
Yeah.
If my father's his son, here's a couple of grand for you. At that age, probably, and if you need anything, call me. Maybe I would never be. Probably not. For sure, I would never. I would not have that hunger to succeed. So I think the fact that you have that hunger And every single day of my life, I was looking at that goal and I was feeling I was getting closer and closer and closer. It's like tiny steps. And it depends how you can see it. Oh my God, still too far? Or I'm saying I'm getting closer. Some people say it all or nothing. There's no such thing all or nothing in business. It's about small steps. Yeah. So I came across a book called The Secret, The Law of Attraction. I read it. And I have to tell you, I believe in that book so much because it's so damn true. If you believe in something, and if you are hungry enough and you're determined to get this thing, I believe you'll get it. But the more hours you put into it, the more effort, the more likely you're gonna get. But at the time, it's nothing happened overnight. You have to go, you have to, one door opens, another one closes, then the other opens, and eventually you find your way.
I find that when you set out to do something like this that you believe in, whether it's God or whatever, challenges that and tests that belief. So a lot of curveballs come your way at the start to really see, like,
look,
is this person serious about this?
It depends how you believe in it. It depends how much you believe. In life, there's full of hurdles and curveballs. If you're passionate about it, determined to do something, all the curveballs you can handle, the curved balls, you can handle them. All the difficulties you can handle them because you're passionate enough, because you believe you will sit there. You know you need to go through it. You just go through it, and because you're already deep in there.
You've committed to it.
You're committed to it, and you can't go back. That is that kind of thing. So, and then eventually, when you get somewhere, and then because sometimes to get there is not easy. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But you have to be determined, hungry. You need to have the rage to do it. And then once you get, because for me, my big dream, and I pray God, all I want is to open this restaurant. Please, God, by the time I'm within 4 years, 5 years maximum, when I'm 22, 23, I want to open it. Eventually I open that restaurant. I have to tell you, the moment I open that restaurant, that dream, I wasn't thinking about it anymore. I was already in that dream.
The reality is there now.
I was already in that reality. And once you're in that reality, all I wanted to do is survive. It was difficult. I thought it was easy. It was about surviving. Survive. And then eventually I survived it. I did the other restaurant. And then afterwards, to open more and to stay in business, you need also to have another type thinking is what will keep you going. Is you need to love what you do. You need to be a bit passionate. Because a lot of people, when they're no longer hungry, they're no longer driven.
Absolutely. Like they say about, was it Rocky? He started sleeping in silk sheets, and then that's when he started losing because you got comfortable.
100%. Silk is no good. It's no good for everybody because you're comfortable. And then after a while, that silk sheet is not soft enough. You want something softer. So in life, it's a little bit like that, but it's a balance.
So do you feel, Tony, that you are... You put yourself in these positions where you're constantly being challenged? Is that what you're driven by?
Challenge is good. Uncertainty is good sometimes, because if you're always comfortable, you're not going to do something. You need to get yourself out of your comfort zone in order to do better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If it's easy, that means you're still within your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of two final questions that I have for you, Tony. First one is about coronavirus. and how you and your businesses have done in COVID, and how have you managed COVID, and I suppose what are your plans now post-COVID or potentially lockdown again? It's very crazy right now.
Look, it's difficult for everybody. It depends. It's difficult for on the personal point of view, and it's difficult for a business. For us, it's a business. For someone else, it's his job or their job. It's something for me. I just think it's something so serious. Of course, I want to be as positive as I can, because we need to be positive. Business wise, all it is about surviving. It's not about expanding. It's about genuinely surviving. I remember just at COVID we had about 800 people, and plus also we have maybe about 1,000 people indirectly with the consultants, with suppliers, with this, and it's a hard decision because we have, imagine 1,000 families that rely on us, and we need to make sure the business survives. We had to do everything we could in order that the business survives. I think my business partner, who had to go through probably 12 hours a day, every day, negotiating, writing emails, doing this, doing that, with landlords, suppliers, and this, to make sure. And also the team, I have to deal with the HR issues, making sure everybody's well and safe, the mental side of the team, and taking care of the furlough. And when we opened, we knew it was going to be bad. We thought it was going to be really, really bad, and it turned out to be a little bit better, but it was still really bad. At least we prepared ourselves for it. Then came that help out to eat out. Eat out to help out. It was good. It was more. I was surprised it was going to do so well. But then came that following month, and everything dropped. We weren't surprised that it dropped. Now we're trying to do it. Look, every business is in it. But I believe the businesses that will survive is the ones that have stronger foundation from a lot of aspects. From they have some cash reserve for the rainy days or for the COVID days. Now I think they probably call it COVID days rather than the rainy days. To make sure they negotiate with the landlords, to make sure it's all about the costs. That they control the costs. And there's also the any business that is just average before COVID or was finding it hard before COVID, I doubt it will survive after COVID. It will be the survival of the fittest. The fittest is many ways to describe the fittest. Companies that have cash reserve, companies that had already put everything in place to come out through this situation. The people that worked so hard to negotiate with their landlords. So business-wise is that, and also families also is very important. We need to stay safe. When I say that families need to stay safe, for me I have two families, a huge family which is my team, our team. They're still our team. We spend more time at work than at home. Make sure they are safe. And also I have my family, my brothers, my sister, my mom, and we're worried about the older We need to be responsible.
Absolutely. My last question to you, Tony. I want to end this with as much value as I can for the people that are watching and listening to this. A lot of the people that are watching this because they are at a point where, some will be running a business and they're watching this to get extra tips on how to go from 60 to 100. But there's a lot of people watching this are at 0 right now, and they're in that mind space where they're thinking about, I want to do business. Maybe they've got an idea, maybe they've started something, but generally they're at that beginning stages. So what for you are your principles, and I suppose your, for want of a better word, your keys to success?
It's actually a difficult question because they are at 0. I'm talking about the ones at 0. 0 for me is thinking about starting something. If I have to share my 0, my point of 0, it started 5 years before I started, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I had that goal, but I gave myself 5 years to work for it.
Right.
I didn't say tomorrow I have to start a business and do this and do that. So what that helped me in those 5 years, it helped me get money. It helped me build the hunger and the drive to do more and more. Yes, I worked in restaurants. I have to say something, but I did not gain experience because I was so young. I had 0 experience. All the thinking in money is enough. I did not think that you needed experience. That experience, I got it once I opened trial and error, if that makes sense. I have to tell you that by the time I opened my first restaurant, I probably knew much less than 1% of what I should have known.
Okay.
The only thing that I did, I had money and I worked in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I didn't do about management, stock take, training, recruitment, marketing. I know nothing. But when I had the money, I thought that's enough. So I think it's very, very important. That's for me. That's my personal experience.
So you have a goal, and you work towards that goal.
Yeah.
And you stay driven towards that goal.
Yeah. I was determined. It was going to happen. It was not a choice. And when you have no choice, it's actually easier. It's easier to have a goal that is so difficult with no choice than having a less difficult goal with a lot of...
Absolutely, yeah.
You have 2 or 3 choices, because when you have 2 or 3 choices, then you're not focused.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And the other thing that I think is quite interesting about what you're saying as well is almost that the ignorance of not having the right experience. I mean, if you knew the things that you should have known to start, you possibly would have taken a longer time to start, or
you would never start.
You would never have started.
I think you're absolutely right. If you know, also there's also the thing that when you don't know, people don't want to do something. But if you know how difficult, how painful, how you probably will never go through it. But there's also the unknown is an adrenaline. But a lot of people don't give it enough time.
Yes.
To succeed. They think, one try, boom. They say mistakes. I made so many mistakes. I wish I didn't do this. Actually, I am so happy now with age and know I made these mistakes, and I'm so glad I made those mistakes, because that's mistakes that what helped me who I am become today. When you talk about the vaccine for coronavirus, they need 6 months to find the virus, so they do a lot of trials. They call them trials, they don't call them mistakes, if that makes sense. Because the first trial, it doesn't work. Second, it didn't work. Was that a mistake? No. So that's how the word mistake in life, the way I look at it, there is a mistake and there is a mistake. I'm not talking mistake to kill someone. No, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
sometimes the word mistake is an important, not sometimes, most of the time is an important part of someone's experience and someone's journey and someone's, you know, you can make 10 mistakes, and as long as they're not the same mistakes 10 times, then you have a problem. But if you have made 10 mistakes and each mistake is different and each mistake you learn from it, that's make you better and you understand.
That's experience and
wisdom.
It's
an experience and wisdom. So determination is without a doubt. Patience, anger, but you cannot undermine. It's not business or whatever you call it, success. I don't like, because people use success only at work. You know, that word success could be in multiple things. You know, whether it's at home, whether it's in education, whether it's at work. There's no such thing of success on your own. Every single person in this world has succeeded in their field. It has succeeded because of a team. You can't say who's successful child in school because he had his teacher, because he has his parents, he had his environment. Everyone has a team with him, behind him, working with him in order to succeed. You see Djokovic, you think he's on his own? No, he's not on his own. You see Anthony Joshua in boxing on his own. He's not on his own, he has a team. Has a team of like 20 people on a different aspect. You have an actor, he has a team. You have Steve Jobs, he had a team. There's nobody. Madonna had a team around. There's no one. It's all about the team. And usually, for me, I always say now, just because obviously I understand how I have some of our restaurants are open. They're serving, and I'm talking to you. That means it's a team. They're doing their job. I'm doing my job, and you're doing your job. Our accountant is doing your job. Our chef is doing his job. My business partner is doing his job. Our driver is doing his job. So it's all. And to be very honest, I say there's no rule is more important than the other. It's all different responsibilities.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, if on the day, on a Saturday night when you're busy, the kitchen porter doesn't come, you're not going to have clean plates or clean cutlery. You can't, if that makes sense. Absolutely. Every role is important. So, team is very, very important. Having the right team is extremely important. Training the team is technically a non-stop. All the time. Like doctors. That doesn't mean once they qualify they don't train anymore, because there's always something new, new technology, new medicine, and new trials. So that's all I will say. I think it's you need to understand that it's not a one-man show. There's no such thing as a one-man show.
Absolutely.
It's a teamwork. And
so now, just to end things off, what is the future for Tony Kitous? What's the future for Comptoir?
Look, it's for me personally, it's my work is my future. I'd have answered that question easily
last year,
but difficult now. But I like to stay positive. Just like our team. When I talk to my business partner all the time, says we stay positive about. But right now it's about surviving in terms of work. And then once the storm is over, the dust is set, and then we'll have a clearer picture of what's happening, and then we can honestly answer you.
it's very interesting.
Anybody answering you now is only as good as a guess.
Yeah.
People tell you, what do you think we're gonna do? We don't know, because nobody knows. A lockdown is based on many factors.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So a lot of things, every decision is based on certain factors. So if I tell you my future is this, it's, nobody can tell you what is going to happen. I think once the storm stops, the dust is settled, and then you have a clearer picture of what we can do. And even then, it still takes time. Even when the dust is settled, you still can take it step by step. Survival is not an easy thing, by the way.
So yes, just to kind of cap things off then, how has, because I mean, it's just very fascinating because I suppose your whole entire mindset has had to completely change when it comes to running your business. When you're retaining capital in the business for, say, for example, extra investments into new restaurants, new stuff, that's all now changed, right? Your whole vision, everything has to stop on a weekly basis then, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
It's all about now. Right now,
surviving.
It's there's so much uncertainty in this world that it's all about surviving. Of course, there is tiny part of the industry that is doing well, such as Amazon of this world. But in general, it's full of uncertainty. I personally, as a person, I'm not this most cautious person. Usually I take risk, and it's about, obviously this is reality. This is fact. It brought me back to reality. However, I have a business partner who was all his life cautious.
Right.
Every steps is got calculated. And before COVID, we used to balance each other. I can't say that I made him take risks, because I don't, because he's very cautious. But definitely I learned a lot from him, where to step back, and you can't just take risks like we did in the past. لا خلاص شكرا.
Any coffee, sir? No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we can't. Okay, I repeat. My business partner obviously is very cautious. Naturally, is very cautious. I think the fact he was very cautious helped our business be where we are today. But more importantly, it's, imagine someone who's cautious way before COVID. Yeah, how much he helped them when they are when they at times like this. So it helped us to have some money on the side to help to carry us.
You had that safety net.
Yeah, that post-COVID. But I don't think one can plan. The only plan you can plan is to survive. If that makes sense. We talked about it a lot. Sometimes about some people, you give them some conditions. In life, if you tell someone, this is his salary, then can you work for more or for less? It will tell you no. And then, because all he's thinking is about money. In this current situation, all he's thinking is about money. I complain about the money, but the moment he has someone so close to him in hospital, or that person is in hospital with very serious condition, the doctor telling him about it's critical, you might not survive, And then you start talking to him about the salaries.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I don't care about the salaries. I'm only thinking about whether to leave or
Yeah.
about my life.
Yeah.
Where in the
priorities
beginning,
shift.
they were only thinking about the money. So survival is this. You just need to make sure you put your priorities right.
Absolutely.
And it's unknown. Anybody that can say this is what's going to happen, it's a guess. There is data and there is algorithm, but if you ask 1,000 people, they all give you different ideas what's going to happen. And whoever told you that's what's going to happen, it's a combination of luck, or maybe the few things and ifs and a lot of ifs.
Educated guessing, but it's still guessing.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
still a guess.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you, because you don't know where it's going to come from. We don't know what's going to happen next week. In August, where were you?
In August,
Yeah,
I was at home.
you were at home. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, people are going out to restaurants.
Oh, in
I was,
August,
I was in Manchester. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that area. Was it Rushdale or whatever it is
Yeah,
in Manchester? I promise you, you
No
could not
lockdown.
walk. No, you could not walk. Restaurants, this eat out to help out.
Oh, on the Curry Mile,
my
it's called, isn't it?
lord,
Windsor
Lord,
Road,
you
yeah.
could have seen some people doing 5, 6, 7, 9 people a
Yeah.
night. Look what happened.
Yeah.
At that time, people thought that's it. It's over. People forgot.
Yeah.
It's not over. My business partner said what the government did, they put a lid on it. It's like pressure cooker. That the moment they removed the lid, and he just said it, they could know, even our industry, he was talking, and he's super clever, my business partner. He was saying that, you know what, they could have been tougher with the restaurant business. So what do you say that? He said, but they didn't want to do that, because if they did that, it would be like throwing X on their face, because only in August says go and eat and help out, and all of a sudden you closed it. That means what you've done didn't work, and that caused it. So it's he just actually don't know.
True,
You
actually,
try, you stop, you do this. Whatever you do, you're not sure if it's going to be right or wrong. They have the health advisors. You have Richie, who's holding the wallet, and between them, they come from two different arguments. One is saying we need to work in order to pay and to survive. The other one says we need to stay home and to be careful in order to survive. They survive and survive. One surviving with food and money, the other one surviving with their health. And the politician, Boris, has to make a tough decision. I don't want to be Boris right now. I don't know why he wanted to do it. I remember when Boris was smashing, hating what's her name, with criticizing her, attacking Theresa May, and I was thinking, poor lady, what she's going through. And probably is going through the same. Imagine you making the worst decisions, the most difficult decisions, and you don't know if they are the best or the worst.
I think especially at this time, it's like you can't make a right decision.
You can't.
Whatever you do is going to be
yeah.
a wrong decision.
If you're driving and you're going, you know where you're going, but you come across two roads. Says, am I going left or right? I might be wrong. You always, you get it wrong. You waste 10 minutes, half an hour. But here, any decision, you can take the whole country with you, which they did, to be honest. So it's tough.
Absolutely.
Very, very tough.
Absolutely.
So it's I think, like everyone else said, is the most challenging time that anyone came across. But that's also reality. My business partner always used to say, you never know what can happen. We need not to do this project, we need to leave somebody else. You never know. You know what? I always supported him, but in my mind I said, what can happen? Honestly, we don't only, because obviously we didn't have to just do something for sake of doing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? So this really is gonna do. What's gonna happen? But he just didn't want to say it. It's, you never know in business. It's a difficult thing. Gut feeling, decisions. It's there's a lot of. But I remember one thing someone once told me in life. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, which means luck just doesn't come to you.
You have to go to it,
Yeah, and means you have to work very hard, but also you make a mistake then between each mistake there's luck. That means that's where that experience come into it.
Absolutely. Tony, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Really, honestly, thank you so much for your time. You're probably one of the busiest people that I've met.
No.
And that too, someone who is, running an empire in the hospitality industry, which has been, worst affected by this. So
it definitely has, I have to say. But I'm sure other probably industries have been affected. I don't know how. Because I don't know. But with us, it's definitely. Because one of the, what's our busiest department? It's our accounts department and the HR. Because they have to deal with a lot of things. They have to do a lot of regulation and the health and safety. Our chefs, they have to make sure that our staff are safe, our customers are safe. The accounts department make sure they just work on the costings and on the be careful on the money. So yeah, even when it's furloughed, the furlough is our accounts department. They've been up to their eyeballs, making sure everybody got paid on time. It's hopefully we'll meet again, inshallah in 6 months time, 9 months time. We look back and talk about this today.
I hope so.
I hope so,
inshallah. Thank you so much, Tony.
Yeah, that's a pleasure.
Guys, make sure that you check out Comptoir Libanais if you haven't already. There's 35 locations, and especially if you're in and around London, make sure you check it out. My personal favourite, just to let you know as well, is the lamb kofta and halloumi burger. I really like that when I was
lamb and halloumi burger. Oof. Yeah, very nice actually.
Very good. But I'm going to try the salad that you said that you eat about 4 times a day.
That's fattoush. But also you should try the French fries.
I did. I love your French fries.
With garlic. A lot of garlic.
The sauce.
Yeah.
That's special.
The garlic. It's the garlic.
Do you have a recipe for that in your books?
The garlic, in one of the cookbooks. But I have 3 cookbooks though.
Yeah.
So, So, hope to see you in Comptoir.
Inshallah.